fuel injector seals on 2015 Chevy Silverado. So there's a couple of videos out there. I'm going to do one. Uh, these things, they're terrible. It's just a terrible experience. But anyway, uh, I'm gonna show you how I'm doing them now. I mean, I've done a couple of them now, so this is kind of like what I came up with. Um, we'll kind of give you a rundown. Try to adjust the camera. You see me work. All right, so first of all, you get these little tiny seals, and you're supposed to put these on. They're like nylon, so they do expand and contract, and I just dropped that one. There we go. Okay, and you're supposed to put these on the fuel injector, on these direct injections, and I'll tell you what, it's kind of tough, but we're going to just, I already did these here, they're all done, and I'll give you my experience with them. This is, first of all, the first time I did one, I got GM kit, and the GM kit was on a 2.4 liter yeah, it was on a 2.4 liter Equinox, I think, and ended up getting a kit from the dealership, and it came with instructions, which is kind of handy. But this is the whole concept of what it looks like. And they give you, the dealer gives you everything, man. They give you piece by piece of these bags. And I didn't end up doing the other side of the injector, not all of them. This side, you don't really need to do that side. If all you're doing is pulling the fuel rail, you could keep that all together. It's probably better if you don't take it apart. Not unless there's an issue, leaking fuel, or some other issue why you have to take this apart. I wouldn't mess with it. That's what I started off doing. In fact, GM gives you the clips and everything. So you get everything with GM. You get the top and bottom and the clips and everything. But like I said, you don't necessarily have to take the injectors out of the fuel rail to replace those seals. Not unless they're leaking or something. You know, if there's a reason to do it, fine. But if not, if all you're doing is just replacing the compression seals, then I wouldn't worry about taking them apart. Anyhow, so I got a couple of kits, tools off of Amazon, and I don't have the part numbers of the kits that I bought, but so I got two kits. First of all, when I did, here's one kit to remove the fuel rail. You know, and you stick it in there like that, whatever. They don't even fit, they're junk. It's a joke. But anyhow, you put it in there like this, take the bolt out of the fuel rail, and you put this in there, and then the hook is supposed to grab the fuel rail and pop it up. But like I said, all you really need is a pry bar. A big pry bar with a big giant hook on it, a crowbar. But anyway, getting that, this is all new experience for me doing this, and it's like I wanted to have all the tools that I needed, you know. So I bought that kit to get, because the first time I did one, the fuel rail bent. It was in the cylinder head so bad that I couldn't get it apart. So anytime you're doing one of these 5.3 liters or something, there's a good possibility that fuel rail is not going to come out. And if it doesn't, you may end up bending the fuel rail And if that's the case, you need to replace it. That was a bad experience. And I guess for my first time having a bad experience, might as well get it over with. It's bound to happen. But getting to this point here, these injectors, they came right out, no problem. I mean, like the fuel rail just popped right off. It was like easy peasy, you know. So when I got the kits from Amazon, I got two different ones. These are the resize tools. The little hole goes through. And they're supposed to be the same on both sides or whatever. I don't know. And it doesn't really matter which side you put on there, but you'll see that it does. And then the other kit that I bought, same thing, identical as this one, but they're not exactly the same. They're not cut the same. They're not drilled. It's not the same diameter inside. So you got to be careful with that. I would get a couple of them because it is nice to have a loose one to get started and then finish it off with a tighter tolerance. Also, you get a couple of these, and even these are different. I don't know, unless I got something, but see, they're a little different. Maybe they're not. One has a factory number on it, the other one does not. 245-4. So that'd be 49245-4, and that would be for like the 2.4 liters, and the 5.3s seem to be about the same size. But like I said, I don't know what this one actually goes to. I thought it was for 2.4, but it's some aftermarket setup here that doesn't quite match the tolerance. They don't squeeze it down tight. Yeah, you wouldn't get away with this one. But this one's nice to have just to get started. So that's how I ended up with a couple bags of these. I got the silver ones, and I got the gold ones or brass or whatever. So it's okay. I'll buy another kit off Snap-on if I mean if it's better than what I'm using, I don't have any problem spending the money. If I have to spend the money to make my job easier, believe me, I'll do it, because it's an aggravation. But I'll show you what I have and show you how to do this. So I'm going to start with this one right here. So when we bring this camera down here, maybe you can watch me struggle. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get me an X-Acto knife, and I'm going to cut this O-ring off of here. They cut really super easy, so just peels right off. Don't stab yourself. Don't cut yourself. Like I don't know if you can see it. Okay, here's one. Peels right off. Here's the other one. Pop this one off. Okay. Alright. So now to this point, take this seal off, and then you'll see the injector, you know, like that. But then I'll take a piece of steel wool, and I'll clean that up, and I'll get underneath, make sure there's no carbon or anything built up under there, blow it off. Just, you know, alright, nice and clean. and then take, so the whole idea, I already got this one picked out. So, you know, they got different sizes. That's why there's so many of these. So you take a size and you stick it on there like that. And you can see that one's real loose. This one a little tighter. And it just barely fits over. In fact, it takes a little bit of effort to pull it back off. Okay, and then it fits just perfectly. So then, at that point, you take yourself a little O-ring, you put it on the end, like so. Okay, you take the tool, put it in there like that. It'll push that seal, go slow with it, and it'll push that seal right up on there. Okay, and then pull that off. Here's one seal. Take this back off. Like I said, it's kind of stuck a little bit. There we go. Alright. And then now they want you to resize it with your fingers. You take your fingers and you keep on rolling. Keep on rolling it over and over. Okay. And then after you get done with that, then they tell you to put the resize tool on there, push down on it, and seal it. Well, guess what? That doesn't work very well because what it wants to do is it wants to roll that seal right up on the shaft there, then it ruins the seal. So that's not going to get it. So I'm trying to figure out what am I going to do about that. So here's what I did. I got a cheap pair of pliers and I drilled a hole in the middle of it. Okay, cheap pair of pliers. And the hole size is just below 5/16. 19 something. Let me see. 1964. So I drilled it out 1964. It's a little bit less than 5/16. And then what I do is I take this and I put it over that seal, kind of give it a little squeeze, gently. You don't want to cut the seal nothing. Okay, and just kind of work it around. Nice and easy. Once I get it kind of sized, then I'll squeeze it a little tighter and maybe spin it, you know, get another bite somewhere else on it, you know, and I'll just resize it that way. And that gets me started. Now, I took a pair of coax cable pliers and I drilled out the first part of it right there to the same size. I don't know if they work any better, but I'm going to try it. I just now did it, so just kind of squeeze it. Kind of hold it. I guess a couple guys on YouTube was saying that if you sit there and hold it for like, well, put the right resize tool on there for about 30 seconds or so, give it time to shrink, you'll get the idea when you start working with it. This works pretty good. All I'm trying to do is resize it just enough to get that tool on there. Yeah, this does pretty good. Not too bad. So put the whole thing. Alright. Now I got that down a little bit tighter. These work actually pretty good. These are a little easier to control. These little pliers are much easier to control. And it's kind of a chore. It's a little bit of a chore to drill a hole through this. It's hard steel, so take your time with it. Use a drill press and make sure the teeth are closed, and just drill right a hole right in the middle of them. You know, they work pretty good, I think. All right, so I got that pretty darn tight on there. So then, and I'll show you this to you later on, but I marked it. It seems like this side goes on a little bit easier. And then I put this on here. This is the non-branded tool, and it goes right on. See how easy that was? All right, but I turn it around and it seems to be a little bit tighter. Well, no, it isn't. It's a little looser. Yeah, they're not perfect. I don't know. These tools aren't made exactly perfect. But anyway, you get it in there, you got this slide like easy peasy, okay? No resistance. Now this side, this one here, this was marked with a part number, and I think it's a lot more accurate. So I stick this one on there, and my goodness, you can see it doesn't go on there. I have to really push down, kind of work it. Now it's on there. Okay. And the reason why I take off this other seal, this seal right here, I take that off because it might go down too far. And sometimes it gets stuck and it doesn't want to come back off. So, this little Harbor Freight scraper or door trim, whatever, I have no use for it. I think it's absolutely just useless to me, but it's got a perfect size slot. I can stick this in between the stick it in between the injector and the tool and push down on it, and it'll at least get it off there so it moves. Then what I do, push down, then pop off. This one feels great. Then if I turn this tool around, it's even tighter. It's not supposed to be that way, but it's just the way these tools are. So what I'll do is I'll bring it to a point, like it gets really loose right there. You can see that it's got some slot, you know. But then it's got a little tight spot there. So what I'll do is I'll back it off just until I get a little bit of a tight spot there. I'll spin it just a little bit and let it sit there for a minute. And I always put the first seal. I'll show you. So yeah, that feels pretty good. And it also, when you resize them, it gets rid of any because it's tight nylon. It seems to get rid of any deformities in the seal. So it ends up being that the seal looks pretty good. It's nice. I don't know what you could see, but hopefully you get a good shot of that. There's no scratches or nothing on it. Looks good. They got rid of all the deformities. You know. So that's the first seal that you put on. And always put that on the second groove. And now I've got to put the other one on the first groove. So then we start the whole process again. You get your cone, slide it on there, you get a new seal, pop it on there, and get your tool, push it on. Okay, now it's on there. It's real loose. Then you pull this piece back off. And now you have the second seal on there, on the first land, and it's loose. So you just resize it with your finger a couple times. Then you take your little handy dandy pliers that you made, kind of give it a couple, just squeeze it just a little bit. Just hold it. Okay. So, these, let me try these. These are a little bit thinner. Turn this, yeah, you turn the seal just a little bit. Get another bite on it. Now we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to take this oversized one and I'm going to put it on there first. It slides right on. It's pretty nice. Turn it around, do it again. It's super, super loose. Alright, so that's one's done. We'll move on to this one. And I'm telling you, it will be tight. It'll probably roll. Oh, nope, didn't. And then I'll just let that, I'll spin it a couple times and I'll just let it sit there. And after it sits, then I'll push it on more and then pull it off. Well, that didn't work, but that's usually what I do and it works. That's what this thing's for. Sometimes you can't get the thing back off. There you go. And I'll turn this thing around, do it the other way. It said it doesn't matter, but I think it does. Yeah, this one turned out really, really nice. And I'll go to the tight spot. It's got a tight spot there. Just let it sit there, maybe spin it. Because when you put these things down in the cylinder head, you'll find out that it's still pretty darn tight. And when you do this, and you're all done, these O-rings are like, they look really good. They don't have any scratches or nothing. It turned out real good. Alright, so this one's pretty much done. And the tool should go on there, slide on real easy, and slide back off. You should feel some resistance. It shouldn't be that bad though. Put it in, take it off, no problem. See? So that one's done. That one's done now. I didn't do this one yet, I don't think. But you can see there's no resistance putting this tool on. It just, in fact, you know, look at that, just, it's super loose. This one I already did, actually. I did these. Yeah, I did this one. You can feel it's tight. Good and snug. it should take a little bit of force to get them off. Not that bad, but you got to remember they got to seal up when they go down in the cylinder head. This one I didn't do yet. Super loose, you know. So, because I did one at work, I was just messing around, had some downtime. So I got this one done. This one's not done. This one is done, and this one's not done. So I got these two to do. But that's the whole idea. Almost don't even want to do it. I mean, sometimes these things are looking really good. When they look that good, I'm just hesitant even if I want to mess with it. But here's the problem. If you have a compression leak, around one of those seals, because they go down in the cylinder and the combustion chamber, you're going to have a misfire. I don't know if they'll call I had one issue let's see. If you get a leak there, maybe you can have a fuel imbalance, maybe. But you could definitely have a misfire. So it's a good idea to replace those seals when you have the fuel. Anytime you take the fuel oil off, you should put new seals in. Highly recommended. And with a big job, tearing the heads down, putting the lifters in it and all that stuff, the last thing I want to do is deal with a poor quality issue of me not putting the seals on the injectors and I having a misfire and I have to pull the intake and dealing with all that stupid stuff, I just assume to just do it right the first time, do the best of my ability. Hopefully I can save myself a headache down the road. So I got the injector seals, I got the tools. Take a little time. It's easier to do now than it is later. You always find time to do it right the second time, but you never have time to do it right the first time. So I'm going to do it right the first time. I'm going to put the new seals on it and have all the new seals on all my injectors and clean the holes, the bores that I'm getting the cylinder heads done anyway, so I should be in good shape. But you also want to clean the bores down in the cylinder head, down in the holes there, with a wire brush. I picked up some of these, a bag of these from Amazon. They're just little wire brushes. Get down in there, clean up the holes. This is too big of a one, but you get the idea. You can cut this end off, put it on a drill if you wanted to, but I don't think you need to do all that. Just need to make sure that it's nice and clean when those injectors go down in the hole. That makes sense, right? Because if you got a bunch of garbage, a lot of carbon built up in those holes, what will happen is it might tear the seals or scar them, and then you're going to have a compression leak. So eliminate that if you can. Good preparation is important to anything, and definitely don't want to cut corners when you're doing a job like this. And because these injectors take so long to do and it's so time consuming, I end up doing it. I right now at this point I'm working for nothing, because I take them home and I do them at home in my own garage. And then I'll take the fuel rails back to work. So I'm not slowing myself down trying to do this on the clock. Unfortunately, I haven't got efficient enough to do that. I need to just get these done, ready to go, ready to assemble. So I take them home and do them here. But it's a lot less stress, and plus I can make a video, and yeah, it works, gets the job done. Alright, guys, well, catch you on the fly. Hopefully this helps somebody down the road. Alright, see ya. Take care.